And that's confirmed with what we're doing here.
As for the team hosting the Titans, Chiefs haven't won a playoff game at home since 1993, and they've only won 2 in their entire 54-year history in Kansas City. So they've got a bit of a monkey to dislodge from their back on Saturday, and Andy Reid thinks that Alex Smith is just the guy to do it.
I think the world of him. I think he's a phenomenal player. This offense, I wish I would have had him when he was a kid, and he could have come up through this offense. I mean, it's kind of built for him and in his game. So he works hard. He studies like crazy. He's in early, out late, wants everything, and he's at the point in his career where he can have a say, which is kind of neat to watch.
Alex Smith enjoying the best season of his career, first in the league in passer rating and touchdown to interception ratio with 26 and 5. Conversely, the Titans quarterback has not had a particularly great season. Mariota, the lowest rated passer left on any of the remaining playoff teams. So that is something to watch in the early game on Saturday. As for the late game, that is Falcons-Rams, and we've got Mike Garafolo with the latest on Atlanta and Steve White covering our bases in Thousand Oaks, where the Rams are preparing to host their first playoff game in L.A. since January 4th, 1986, which was 20 days before Sean McVay was born, Steve.
Yeah, that's right, Lindsay. And, the lack of experience, that's been a big discussion about this team. But Sean McVay said they are not running from the magnitude of this game. Oftentimes we hear people say, oh, it's just another game. We're going to do exactly what we've done in the regular season. He said, no, it's not like that. We understand what the stakes are. In fact, here's McVay on that.
I think it's a great opportunity for our organization and for our team. And we talked about this, Bill, really when we first got here is, our job is to try to give this city a consistent team that, you put a good product out on the field. And I think to our players' credit and to our coaches, they've done a nice job with that. And to be in games like this is a great opportunity where you're the only game on a Saturday night in the Coliseum. And it's certainly something that we embrace. And we talk about seizing the moment, but we know it's going to be a great challenge against the defending NFC champs.
Only 6 players have been to the playoffs on this team, but McVay said they're tremendously confident. He actually said swagger, but I think that term is played out. But linebacker Alec Ogletree also told me they're not going to be overwhelmed because once the ball gets kicked off, then they're just going to be playing football. But they also do love being in this moment, and he said they also love having the opportunity to have some bigger moments ahead.
Steve White with the latest on the Rams and which pop culture terms are okay moving forward. How about the Falcons, Mike? We saw Julio and Devontae Freeman both on the injury report this week. Are they okay?
Yes, and the key here is Devontae Freeman. He is off the injury report as the Falcons make their way west. Dan Quinn saying he was not limited at all. So the Falcons truly believe that they've got themselves a fully healthy Devontae Freeman. And that is a key for them. And they understand it's a key for them because they're going to have to run the football this offseason. They've got to run it to set up this passing game. Freeman's so good when he gets into the open field, but he just hasn't been there enough this season. He has only one 100-yard rushing game since week 3, and he entered the postseason here with 2 games with 11 carries and just didn't get above 4 yards per carry in either one of those games. So they really need to get this running game going. Alex Mack, the center, he's playing with a calf issue, so that's going to affect him. He's such a big part of what they do up front. They're just hoping this running game is all of a sudden going to flick a switch because that will help this passing game. That is not what it was last season, that's for sure.
Falcons-Rams, the primetime game on Saturday, 8:15 Eastern on NBC. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Analyzing the books in Mike Garafolo's office, but now it's time to analyze the numbers when it comes to this Rams offense. The best play-action passing offense in the NFL, and when you look at the Falcons against the play action, you can see the numbers there, next to last in the league, 6 touchdowns and just 1 interception coming on the play action. All right, Todd Gurley, gentlemen, had a very special season, right? So he's probably the main reason that the play action is so successful for the Rams. But give me another reason that it's so effective.
Well, we saw the numbers in the passing yards, but no team utilizes the play action more. I mean, if 30% of the passes are drop back passes, and a lot of it is from the shotgun, and from under center, conventional, but it's because Todd Gurley is on the field. When Todd Gurley is out there, they get into different ways. They get into football. I mean, this play right here goes 80 yards. It's behind the line of scrimmage. Every time he's out there, he's a threat to go the distance in the run game and in the passing game. And just the fact that he has been out there, that's the key here, is he's been out there and available for his team. He doesn't come off the field on third down. He's out there as much as he was at any moment in the first couple years of his career. So it's been fantastic for Sean McVay to have him and for Jared Goff.
All right, so how do you negate it, Mac?
Well, it's tough because Sean McVay, the great play design, what he does is he gives you a lot of different play action looks. So it's not just him turning around, Goff turning around looking to Gurley to hand the football off. Well, you may have a bubble screen going over here. You may have a reverse swing pass going on one side, and then you might have something else going on. So the things you have to do is you got to be very disciplined in your technique. You got to make sure whatever your assignment is, you play that assignment. If you're playing in a zone, then you got to play zone. Don't chase crosses. Don't chase people across the field. Play your zone. If you're in man-to-man, don't peek in the backfield. Stick to your man. A lot of times with play action is defensive backs and linebackers get nosy. They want to see what's going on in the backfield, and their man just keep running. It turns into a big play. So you got to be disciplined in your technique, and you got to do what you're supposed to do on defense. And then once you recognize what the play is, go make a play.
That's hard because they're a young defense. They're very aggressive and fast, but they want to go make a play. So that's why the play action game, that's why their numbers have kind of struggled because they are peaking a little bit.
Right.
And it sounds so easy not to do that, but when you have a guy like Gurley in the backfield, right, it's almost impossible.
He is the engine. I keep saying this. He is the engine that makes that car go. So when you're in your meetings, the first thing they say is, we got to take Gurley out. So they use him. That's the carrot. On offense, they use him.
Yeah, every team's been saying that for 17 weeks. Not many people have been able to do that. The other game taking place in Kansas City, of course, it is the Titans and the Chiefs. And the Titans very aware of these numbers right here in regards to Alex Smith. In the Super Bowl era, nobody has been more efficient in the postseason than Alex Smith. 12 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions. And he's taken on a Titans defense, David, that ranks 25th rather, against the pass. How do you see Smith attacking the Titans D?
Just like they always do. They stay within their game plan. They go out there, they run the football, they move in multiple formations like you were just talking about earlier with what the Rams do. They do a very similar job. And Alex is involved in the run game, and then that opens up the play action pass, the big throws down the field. They don't go out there and try and beat you in just the drop back passing game. That's not the team. That's not who they are. They want to run the football with Alex. They want to run it with Tyreek Hill. They want to put everybody back there. And then number 10 runs right by you when you're looking in the backfield. So for Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, the issue with Tennessee coming in is I don't know if they do enough on offense to take them out of this. That's the biggest thing. Like, are you going to score enough points to make Alex go drop back pass with you, or are you going to let him go out there, do his thing with the running game, let Andy Reid kind of move it around, and then, oh, here goes Tyreek Hill. I think that's what's going to happen because I don't see Tennessee scoring as many points to make them come out of that system.
Well, and obviously no DeMarco Murray. He's not going to be there this week. So you have Derrick Henry taking over the lion's share of the carries for the second week in a row. And this is not an offense that puts up a ton of points. No. If you're the Titans, how do you prepare to try and slow down or stop Smith?
Well, it's tough. First of all, if you don't want to stop Smith or you want to keep him off the field, then you need to be effective offensively. You need to run the football and convert on third down, which guess who was one of the best teams at doing that? It was Marcus early on. Like, they convert, they run it first and down, third and short, and then they get the big plays. But on the other side of the ball, Alex Smith, they give you so many different things. And it comes down to Andy Reid and his play design and putting those multiple formations, those shifts in motions. And the one thing you want to do is that right there. Hand the football off to Kareem Hunt. When they had their losing streak, they stopped doing it. He had 0 touchdowns in 7 games. Everything that's based upon their production on offense, the big play you see right here with Tyreek Hill, the play action passes, the bubble screens, all the fancy things you see right here with Kelsey's going to turn into a huge play. It's based off the run, because if you don't stop the run in Kareem Hunt, those plays don't open up. Now, you got to know where all the playmakers are, but it's all based off of them getting you out of position with the mismatches. And they do that to see if guys are going to have to move and guys are going to have to go out and cover certain guys, and they want to get the players the ball in space.
You talked about that stretch where they struggled and Hunt not getting the ball. He was only averaging about 12 or 13 carries per game. Still went on to be the leading rusher in the NFL this year as a rookie. So an impressive season by that young man, no doubt about that.
Again, DeMarco Murray ruled out for that game. LaShawn McCoy is still trying to play on Sunday for the Bills. Ian Rappaport, how's it looking for him right now?
It's looking not as bad as everyone originally thought. When a player is carted off, then has to play next week, even though it's a Sunday, not a Saturday game, that is usually not good news, but there is some good news coming out of Buffalo. First of all, Shady McCoy was on the field today before practice, doing some things, going through his rehab, not really testing it too much, but at least he was out of the walking boot. He was running, and that is a very good sign. There is a lot of optimism that he will be able to play. Probably still going to be listed as questionable, a game-time decision. They'd like to see him get out on the field pregame and test it just to be sure, but they do think he'll be able to play. The real question is, how close to himself will he be? Will he be cutting on a dime as he usually is, or will he be kind of gimpy and ailing and not the same Shady McCoy that we've seen for the last decade?
Cut on a dime. I see what you did there. His Twitter handle.
Yeah,
Bills the 6th seed, which means if they win this week, they will play the Patriots next week. In the meantime, this is what New England was battling today. A massive snowstorm called a bomb cyclone. It's resulted in ice and wind and freezing temperatures, the extent of which forced the Patriots off of their practice field and into their indoor bubble, where players like Tom Brady were grateful to prepare for their divisional round game without the added challenge of the elements.
Car's tough. Everything's tough this time of year, especially in the cold.
20 points and forcing 4 turnovers.
In these games, there's always wrinkles on both sides. You should always try to prepare for, or at least have the ability to make adjustments, on the run when you need to. They're a very good football team. They're a very good defense. Got a lot of very good players, very well coached. So, for us, it's do what we do it very well, execute to perfection, and make the plays when you have the opportunities.
Let's check in now with Omar Ruiz, who's at the Saints complex in Metairie, Louisiana. The Saints preparing for a defense led by Luke Kuechly, probably the best linebacker in the game. Now, as we said, they've solved that riddle a couple of times this season. How do they plan on doing it again?
Yeah, with so much familiarity, Dan, Sean Payton saying you really see it the way Luke Kuechly can recognize formations, diagnose some of those Saints plays that are coming, and efficiently communicate that information to Thomas Davis and Shaq Thompson to truly control that middle of the field. It's one of the reasons why rookie running back Alvin Kamara told me they're going to have to try to mix it up and play with Kuechly a little bit. I asked Cam Jordan if it's the same sort of cat and mouse with the Panthers offense. He said no. It is all about slowing down Cam Newton, keeping him in the pocket as a pocket passer, make him uncomfortable when he gets outside of the pocket as a runner. That's when he's his most electrifying self. They've had a good job containing him the couple times they faced him so far this year, looking to do it a third time on Sunday afternoon.
Omar Ruiz with the Saints. Thank you very much, sir.
Interesting note about this game, it features the league's active passing leader in Drew Brees and the league's active sack leader in Julius Peppers. And that's not all. The last 3 times that players who owned those titles went head-to-head in the playoffs, the winner of the game went on to win the Super Bowl. Peyton over Allen 2 years ago, Strahan over Favre in 2007, and LT over Montana in 1990. So, obviously, one of these teams is going to win the Super Bowl.
What's your bet,
Clearly.
David and Willie, why do we even need to play the other games? Show me, David, why it could be Drew that comes out on top.
Okay, so when you're facing issues with sacks, the one thing you want to do is run the football. And they've been able to do that in New Orleans pretty effectively. So right here we have play action pass. You're going to attack the strong safety here. He's in cover 4. He has to come in and fill for the run. So he's got his eyes in the backfield. Drew Brees, nice ball extension. Michael Thomas is already running full speed by the time you turn around and look at me. Therefore, good quarterback, puts it up and over the top. Big play. The other thing you can do is have Sean Payton dial up some winners. You got man coverage across the board. Let's just beat man coverage with scheme. So we're going to motion in, and now the corner's going to fall off, thinking a crossing route's coming. He's pointing to the safety. Hey, here comes the crossing route. You got to cut this. Oh, no, the ball's already out of Drew's hand, in Michael Thomas's hands, and you got a touchdown. So what you can do is slow it down with the run game and play action, and then you can do things like that to get the ball to your hand fast.
What about Pep, Willie? What does all that mean for him?
Well, he has too many plays for me to just do a couple of barrels. I mean, he's been a gift to the defense in the league since he's been in there. There's nobody that's has his size, his athleticism to be able to run, his strength, all the things he can do. But the one strength that a lot of defensive ends and linebackers can't do is play the run. And you're talking about the Saints, you got to be stout in the run because we saw the play action passes off of that. But then when you get him third and long, he's long. You see that reach, his arms. He's able to drive off the ball, use good arms, good moves. He can use the bull rush because of his strength, speed, and he also can use his length to keep the people off of him. And you see him reach right here. It's tough to block. Julius Peppers since he's been in the league day one because of his size, strength, and all the things that I named. But not only that, he understands the game. So in certain situations, whether it's run or whatever, you can count on him. You don't need help in the run game.
Been doing it for a long time.
Doing it for a long time. And then you look across the line of all the people he has helping him on the defensive line with Short and Addison and Starr. You can't double him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
one-on-one, he's going to be a nightmare for anybody.
A big game perhaps for Julius Peppers. Same goes for Thomas Davis on the Panthers. D. He will on Sunday become the franchise leader in playoff games played with 11. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, we've got Jared Goff gearing up for postseason game number 1. And we'll have more on his quarterback matchup against Matt Ryan coming up and the reasons why the young guy took off this year and the veteran took a step back.
LaShawn McCoy out of a walking boot and wants to play for the Bills on Sunday, but how his injured ankle reacts remains to be seen. Shady is the heartbeat of this Bills offense, and he's going to play if he can.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to make any promises. A lot of my teammates been asking me the same questions, and I don't want to lie to them because, people that know me, they know I want to be out there. But I've been in a situation like this before here, and I played on a bad ankle, bad foot, actually a bad hamstring, and I didn't do well at all. I kind of hurt us. I don't want to be in that same situation.
From a health standpoint, the Jags are in pretty good shape. Marquise, the only player who did not practice today. No shortage of storylines in this game as Doug Marrone is facing the team that he walked away from when he opted out of his contract in Buffalo following the 2014 season. And the Jags, of course, returning to the playoffs after a 9-year drought.
The conversations of what we want to do and how we want to build a team and how we want, the culture to be and how we want to practice and, hey, what are you thinking here? What are you thinking there? It was great. And then when the players come in, you don't really know how they're going to respond. And the players were like, hey, listen, we haven't won a lot of football games here, so, let's go and give this a shot.
Marrone did not coach Tyrod Taylor when he was in Buffalo, but he'll certainly see a lot of him this week. The Bills quarterback expected to play a huge role in Buffalo's offense with Shady hurt, which means that these numbers will likely need to improve dramatically. The Bills quarterback, much worse when he's under pressure than when he is not. And that could be a problem against this Jaguars defense, which ranks second in the league with 253 pressures this year, Willie.
No, it's a lot. And the one thing you don't want to do against a bad pass protecting team like which the Bills are when he sits in the pocket is to have a sitting duck. So if I'm the Buffalo Bills and I don't have Shady, then I'm going to move my next best weapon out of the pocket. That's Tyrod Taylor. He's very good out of the pocket, whether it's the boots, the throwbacks, moving the pocket. You see him right here set up for a big play. What happens with a guy like this is he has that run-pass option. When he gets out of the pocket, defensive backs and other guys start to uncover because he can do this. He'll start the run, and then he'll pull you off your coverage, and then he'll throw the ball for a big play. So that's one of the toughest things for a defender to combat against. So the one thing I would do is I wouldn't try to make him a pocket passer in this games unless it's a quick throw, the ball's coming out quick, and we know what we're doing. Outside of that, move the pocket. Get him where he's best. Make the defenders make a decision.
Does that sound good to you?
I'm with him. I'm going to show you a couple plays to go right to your point where you do not want to keep him in the pocket. I don't think schematically they can do it, and I don't think Tyrod wants to do it. You got man coverage across the board. You got some winners wherever you want to go. Pick a guy, let it rip. Right here you're going to have LaShawn McCoy manned up on a linebacker who goes over the top. You got the angle route coming back in. You can pop it on him and get the ball on him and give him some yardage, but what Tyrod does, he doesn't feel like it's a clean throw. Maybe he sees some color in his vision, so he steps up and he tries to run, and it turns into a sack, a play that shouldn't be a sack. Another play. Now you have a corner blitz because you're getting 3rd and long because your run game is struggling. You're getting 3rd and 10. Now they can bring whatever they want. And I don't think their scheme is built for this because you got a corner blitz. I don't have an answer for it. I don't have an answer for it up top. There's not a quick throw. The quick throw is actually down at the bottom with the tight end who's actually covered, and then Tyrod has nowhere to go with the football. So to your point, Willie, I agree completely. You got to be creative with the running game. You got to get receivers involved, fake some motions, get Tyrod on the edge and the perimeter. That's really the only chance you have. Drop back pass is not going to be how you beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When we played smaller quarterbacks like a Michael Vick, the one thing we talked about the entire time is how to rush. we wanted him to stay in the pocket.
Absolutely.
We wanted him to try to throw over the big offensive linemen because we knew they would struggle.
Yep.
So that was always the game plan. Once they got out of the pocket, then it became a problem.
Today. Elsewhere in the AFC, Titans will be facing the Chiefs on Saturday without DeMarco Murray. The running back, who leads the team in rush attempts this season, ruled out today with a severe knee sprain. So it'll be Derrick Henry carrying the load for them out of the backfield.
All right, time to the FedEx Air and Ground Players of the Week. As always, we start in the air. Phillip Rivers wins it. 73% of the vote for Rivers. He had 387 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Arlene Starqua with 48% of the vote. He had 154 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns.
Bortles takes the snap, feeling the heat. Sack! You, sir, have just been a rat mode. Under center is Roethlisberger. They hit him as he lets it go, and that ball is picked off by Jalen Ramsey.
Phillip Rivers, now the pressure on him, but he unloads at the left side. It's intercepted on the far boundary, and Terrence Mitchell gets the interception.
Newt runs the ball over the middle, it's intercepted. Vaccaro. Kuechly, one of the best zone drop pass coverage linebackers.
Russell again out of the shotgun, and he goes down this time as Aaron Donald gets there and just blows past everybody.
Breeze retreats in the shotgun, throwing, and it's going to be intercepted. 3 yards deep in the end zone, and the Falcons, Deion Jones. What a play, what a job by the defense tonight.
8 teams, 8 defenses. Who is the best? Willie Mack, the postseason sack king, is going to rank them all 1 through 8. We're going to start from the bottom and go up. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills.
How did you know I was going to start with the Bills?
I just had an idea.
Well, you know, they got a lot of good pieces. And I like Kyle Williams. I like what they do up front, but I don't think they're the most dominant defense if we're talking to 8. So we're going to move on. Let's go to number 7, Dan.
All right, number 7.
Now, the Titans. Now, 8 yards per play is one of the best. It is the best in the NFL. And I like what they do with the young corners on the outside. The linebacker position at times get caught up in coverages and certain things like that. I think Casey and those guys can get after that front. But let's go to number 6.
Well, speaking of KC, the team they're playing.
Now, I like the Chiefs. The Chiefs started out as one of the best defenses in the league. But the problem was they regressed, and they haven't been playing their best ball. They finally woke up a few weeks ago, but they're still giving up a lot of yards on the ground. You got to be able to stop the run going into the playoffs. Number 5, Dan.
All right, you had 3 teams in the AFC. How about an NFC team, Mac?
I like the Rams, and a lot of people think they should probably be higher. And if you just take the front 4, you would agree they are one of the most dangerous teams up front. But I look at the linebacker possession. I do like Barron because he's a hybrid and he can cover Tremaine Johnson on the outside, but I don't think they have a lot of great coverage guys. So I put him at number 5. Let's go to number 4.
Their Super Bowl year, it was a weakness, not necessarily anymore.
Not this year. They've upgraded. One of the most athletic, fastest defense in the league. They got guys that can cover, running backs, tight ends. They make great plays. And I like them at the corner position. Trufant's back this year, which has been a big difference. They get after the quarterback, they diagnose plays, and they play great in space. So I like my Falcons for number 4.
Another team that's gone from Achilles heel to strength on the defensive side of the ball.
How about the Saints? Now, the Saints we know is the big difference why this team is probably one of the favorites to win in the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl. Now, they were one of the worst at pass defense. Because of Lattimore, they're one of the best now. And the rest of the guys back there, Crawley, guys on the other side. And getting after the quarterbacks, guess what? They're one of the best this year, led by Cam Jordan. So they do a lot of different things, and they take away the football, and they pass defense is one of the best in the league. So
every level, they're pretty good.
Every level, they've improved, which helped the football team.
The defense they'll be playing.
They just don't stop. I mean, the Panthers consistently is one of the best teams, and I know it's based on their front 7. Forget about the secondary, but their front 7 of what they do. They take the football away. Luke Kuechly and that linebacker crew with Shaq Thompson, Thomas Davis, they diagnose plays better than any linebackers in the league, and they play better in space. They also got guys that you can't double team up front. So you got a lot of different players. Once they get into one-on-one situations, they can get to the quarterback.
Luke Kuechly, maybe the best linebacker.
4th in QB hits. They get after the quarterback.
Let me see. There's a lot of choices here for number 1.
They should have been a number 1 defense out of the year, not just the playoffs. Here's the thing with this team. The thing with the Jaguars is they got guys with almost double digits across the front, which means we know they can rush the passer. But the thing that they can do is drop 7 in the coverage. It makes it tough to defend. And if they want to bring in crowd the box, if you're a running football team, they can go man-to-man across the back. They got guys like Colvin that can do it. I can't say AJ's last name. Say it for me.
Boye?
Boye, there you go. Boye and then Ramsey. So you got lockdown corners that allows you to play a lot of multiple fronts, give you blitz zones, and they can just go man across the front and crowd the box and dare you to go deep on them.
In terms of points per game, the Jags the only top 5 defense that's playing on Wild Card Weekend.
16.8.
And the Falcons the only other team that's allowing fewer than 20 points per game.
Hey, we good? We good? Let's go. We good? Let's go, Ty. Let's wake up, boys. Come on. Here we go. Turbo set.
This time play action from his own end zone. He winds up and deals down the middle. At the 50, it's hauled in, Robert Woods.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Hey, you look how fast. I love it right here. Okay? Bend that thing in there sharp. Yeah. Like you were. I'll get it to you, okay? Gotcha. That's real good. But just come in there real hard, okay? Here we go. Turbo set.
They fake the handoff. They throw it left side. A screen to Watkins, the 10, outside the 5, in for the touchdown.
Hey, what we just talked about? What we just talked about? In the throat.
That was a wind-up there. A lot of people forced to eat some crow this season. Jared Goff, one of the biggest surprises of the year, just taking off in Sean McVay's offensive system, went from a 63-plus passer rating in 2016 to a triple-digit rating this year. That's the largest increase of the year. While the guy he's facing this week had the largest drop-off in passer rating in Atlanta's Matt Ryan. So what a difference a year and changes to a coaching staff can make. David, how is Goff doing it?
Well, for one, we mentioned earlier, play action has been huge, and they've been very successful doing that with Todd Gurley, lots of different formations. But what I'm going to show you is just drop-back passing game. This is cover 3, Seattle's staple coverage, and he holds the safety to the left side, keeps him in good position. You got vertical routes going right up the inside edge of the numbers. He holds the safety, makes a nice, accurate, pinpoint throw down the field. Here's another one. You got a nice little bunch combination. Again, they're trying to in and out it. They're not sure how they want to cover it. They're going to lock it up on the inside. But a great design by Sean McVay, and another big throw down the field. He sees the safety. Obviously, the receiver takes the top off the coverage. And now you have to lay it in there, right inside the hash. Another big throw. So not only has it been play action stuff, but just from drop-back passing game. When he has to make throws, he's made big-time throws.
How about Ryan? How do you explain the drop-off?
It's hard for me to say this is Matt Ryan's fault. I really have a hard time thinking that he would go into an offseason after an MVP performance and come out and play this way. What I see is coverage sacks. I see guys going down the field. This is a play-action pass. We hope to have winners down there. There's no one open, no one to throw the football to. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to try and throw it away. So Matt Ryan does what he can, does his best, ends up forcing the issue, which is what happens at the quarterback position when you're trying to make something happen after things have gone not your way. 2-man coverage. Corners are playing inside leverage, help over the top. Why are we running double slants? Julio Jones can't even get inside. He throws it. It's on-time route. It's an interception. Now we have to go back down the field and make a tackle. I'm not pointing fingers. I just think it's a little bit different than what we saw last year. You are a Trojan, Lindsay. I can't say anything bad. Steve Sarkisian's a good play caller. At some times, there's a rhythm and a flow to the system that just isn't there. That there was there last year. So that's all I can really see. I see that a lot. Those two plays, play action, everyone covered, and then routes into combinations of defenses that just aren't going to win.
Last question. How do you pronounce the last name of Jacksonville's cornerback, AJ?
It's probably Boye, but I'm going to say it's AJ Booyah.
Okay. We'll go with that, too.
Just go with just go with whatever.
Just showing off for Willie there. All right, still ahead as Tyler Boyd broke his game-winning touchdown and Ravens hearts. Kyle Williams.
Steve Smith on the other side, beast mode from his Bills days, squaring off against one of the great talkers of all time, Ocho Cinco. And how about this, a showdown between the Mannings, the same Manning. The Colts Peyton taking on the Broncos Peyton. Good chance that a Manning advances to the Final Four. Time now for the Pepsi Rookie of the Week. This is the final week of the season, Week 17, and your winner is Alvin Kamara. 128 combined rushing and receiving yards, but it was this 106-yard kickoff return for a touchdown that sealed the deal. I believe he went to the University of Tennessee. I'm not sure.
Oh, gracious. Big week for Kamara. your fellow Vol, Dan. Can he keep it going in the postseason? His first playoff game Sunday in the last game of the weekend. Panthers Saints at 4:40 after the Bills and Jags at 1:05. That is a game that the Bills earned the right to play on, a very memorable day for Kyle Williams. Not only did the veteran defensive tackle score his first touchdown since high school, a 6-point play in a game that was decided by 6 points, but he also got to experience this moment after the game in the locker room with his two sons. 17 years the Bills went without a playoff appearance, and Kyle Williams was a part of the team for 11 of those years. So to say that this means a lot to him would be an understatement. For more on what it does mean, here's Kim Jones.
Kyle, I got to hit rewind. Wish you a happy new year. And were you one of the freestyle rappers on the flight home Sunday?
Happy New Year to you. That doesn't fall under the banner of any of my talent, so I just enjoyed it with everybody else. I watched.
A 12-year bill, though, you appreciate this drought because you've lived it as much as anyone now, I think, in this building, basically. Yeah. What does this mean to be in the playoffs?
It's great. It's great for our team. It's great for our organization and our players. You know, more than anything, I told somebody on TV the other day, I said, you know, next year when it rolls around and they start talking about football season and they start talking about the playoffs, our fans don't have to listen to them talk about a 17-year drought. They don't have to listen to them talk about the playoff drought. And so I'm as happy for them to not have to stomach that as anybody.
Kyle, you look at this matchup, but what do you think your defense has to do to beat Jacksonville?
You know, we have to be able to contain the running game. I don't know that you really stop them. They're obviously the best in the league at that for a reason, with their stable running backs, physical offensive line, technically sound. So, you know, we really have to try to figure out a way to slow them down.
The opener wraps up with the Panthers and the Saints on Sunday afternoon. Here's Dave Damashek with his own look at the games to watch, Wild Card Weekend edition.
It's the footballiest time of the year. Oh, Damashek here, and so are the playoffs. Oh, what mighty matchups we might see. On the AFC side, Buffalo and Tennessee, that'd be a Music City Miracle rematch. Or maybe we'll see a redo of the season kickoff game from KC going up to Foxborough. Of course, there's the Steelers in New England. That would be the fourth title game between these two teams in just the 21st century. Patriots have won the first three. Also, there's James Harrison, there's Jesse James. You know all the storylines there. We could see a Jacksonville and Tennessee game, a 99 title game rematch. They've also played more recently. Stiff Army Oda. KC and Pittsburgh have played multiple times in the postseason. Montana won it in overtime in '93, and the Steelers won at Arrowhead just last year. Lots of potential good ones in the NFC side, too. Vikes and Falcons, that'd be a '98 title game rematch. Sorry for the reminder there, Gary Anderson. Vikes and Saints equals an '09 rematch of the Brett Favre game. But Minnesota versus anybody in Minnesota for the NFC title would be just swell. The winner could sleep on the field for the next 2 weeks until the Super Bowl starts. The Vikes and Rams have met many times, 7 times to be specific, including this glorious Mud Bowl in 1977 in the Coliseum. The Super Bowl, a lot of juicy ones as well. Kansas City and Philadelphia equals the Andy Reid Bowl. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, a.k.a. the Keystone State Bowl. Lots of potential rematches in the big one, too. You'll recall the Pats and Falcons played in Super Bowl 51. Chiefs and Vikes met back in Super Bowl 4. Chiefs haven't been to the Super Bowl since. Steelers and Vikes is a redo of Super Bowl 9. Steelers and Rams, a Super Bowl 14 rematch. Rams and Titans is a rematch of 34. You know, Kevin Dyson down at the 1. Yeah, you remember that. Rams and Pats is a rematch of 36. Adam Vinatieri's famous 3. Part 1, Pats versus Panthers, 38. Another famous 3 from Vinatieri. Pats and Eagles in 39. That was, T.O. on one leg, McNabb. You know how that one turned out. And, of course, the best of all scenarios, the Bills and Vikes, both 0-4 in the big game. If they played each other, one team would be, by definition, required to win. I think. A lot of ground to cover till we get to then. Just remember, in the meantime, it's the footballiest time of the year.
Gives to Burnett. He's into the open field. Are you kidding me? Touchdown. Leonard Fournette just went 90 yards.
Taken by Bryant at the 4. Through a hole at the 15. On his way to the 20. He beats the kicker.
The pitch for Henry, and he's going to get the first down and more. Henry off to the races down the sideline. Can they catch him? They won't.
Let's get this show going, man.
Alex Smith's throwing long he wants. Tyreek Hill over the shoulder makes the catch. 10, 5, touchdown! Tyreek Hill!
Speed kills, and here's a look at the fastest ball carriers in the postseason. And wouldn't you know, Leonard Fournette, big old Leonard Fournette is the fastest dude in the postseason. Martavis Bryant right behind him. Another big running back, Derrick Henry, the third fastest. And then you have Tyreek Hill and the speed merchant out of Western Kentucky, Taywan Taylor. Now, this was somewhat surprising. I think we were all a little flabbergasted that Tyreek Hill wasn't the fastest player in the postseason, and it was this big fella.
Yeah, I don't know how we clocked out.